and welcome to Retrotainment. I'm here again with my co-host, capital C, capital O, Greg. How are you doing, buddy?
What's happening, homie?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. We did Shaun of the Dead not too long ago, and on your pick, we've decided to go a little bit of the same route.
It's I think it was Zack Snyder's first big movie with Dawn of the Dead, the remake.
I think so, yeah. I think it's probably his first one. So the 2004 remake of Dawn of the Dead, released on the 10th of March in 2004.
You really think they would have held this on until sort of Halloween time?
Yeah, it was a strange one, wasn't it?
I remember this being built up. Like, I was only 13 or so when this came out, but I remember this being built up, and this was, if I remember right, it was built up really well.
Yeah.
Like George A. Romero came back in to do bits with it. They had James Gunn, who obviously done Guardians of the Galaxy and all, but he was the screenplay director or screenplay writer on this. And then obviously you had Zack Snyder, but like, I thought this would have been a Halloween movie, really.
See, that's what I was thinking, but then I was like, did something else big come out in 2004? That's what I'm trying to think. Was there anything other horror, like big horror, that came out in 2004 that might have made them go, we don't want to release this at Halloween?
Not that I know off the top of my head. I didn't look.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of as why you'd go as early as March. But
well, then again, you're trying to maybe avoid the major blockbusters that come out sort of the end of the summer, and the build up to that, and try and get the jump on the box office.
Yeah, well, it did quite well, and as always, we take a quick look at the rating. So, out of 179 critics on Rotten Tomatoes, as 75%, which I think is, that's pretty fair.
That's pretty fair, because when you look at the amount of critics that have done that compared to most of the other movies we've done, there's a lot more than most, and that's a pretty high score for that much.
Yeah. And then the audience score is 77%, which is, again, I think it's quite fair as well. Like, I wouldn't rate this film any higher than that, but I wouldn't rate it much lower either.
Like, there's not many horror movies. Like, you probably say Silence of the Lambs is probably one of the highest rated horror movies, if not the highest rated.
Yeah.
In terms of critic wise, but yeah, 75, between 75 85, you'd be happy enough as a director. And
because there's always going to be something you don't particularly like, Yeah, not you particularly, but just there's always going to be something that somebody watches and go, I don't like that.
Yeah. There is probably, like, once you put zombies into a movie, it's always going to be that kind of way.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like zombie movies. Well, then don't watch it. Like,
don't rate it badly because you don't like it. Just because you don't like a genre, it doesn't make. But a good box office as well for his first film, $102.3 million, which that's quite good. Like, considering, as you say, it didn't come out at Halloween.
The only thing I can think of is they tried to jump the box office, which is in a way is smart, but for this kind of movie, I think sort of Halloween time, mid to late September, start of October would have been the time.
I suppose though, if you release this in March and you talk about being in the cinema for say 2 months,
you get the jump on the DVD sales.
Then the DVD sales probably come out around mid-September or like early September sort of thing. So maybe that's the thinking. I don't know. Don't work in Hollywood, so I don't know the general rules of thumb that they go with. But
there was obviously a reason. But
there's something that they decided to.
But the only other thing I can think of is the company that made it had another movie coming out around that time.
Could have been that as well, yeah. But it's quite a quick starting film. Like, it starts as with Anna in the hospital, and we hear about a guy who's come in with a bite. Yeah. And for some reason he's been sent to ICU.
This like you have to watch it. The first time you watch it, you mightn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
But like you see her talking to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Where is he?" And she's like, "I don't know. I'll find him." And he's like, "Page me." And he goes over and she goes over and asks, and she's like, "Oh, he's in ICU." And she's like, "For a bite?"
Yeah, and they're all kind of confused about it. They're like, "That's a bit weird, isn't it?"
There's also something goes off on the intercom about it. If you listen to it carefully.
Yeah. And then you see someone else getting rushed in as she's leaving.
Yeah.
And you can see there's kind of bites on them as well.
And then there's the play acting that they have where your man in the ambulance lad is lying down, you just see his legs out and you're like, oh, this is starting fast.
Yeah. But obviously he's grand. He's just having a little smoke break in the back of that.
Yeah. Poor fucker's probably been on for about 14 hours.
Yeah, but she gets into her car and she flicks through 2 radio stations. And again, you might not notice it the first time you're watching, but it's just kind of you hear them discussing something. They're like, "Oh, there's been an outbreak," and she skips both of them and then gets to just some music and drives along.
What I really like here is like, I don't know, you don't drive, but like if you're in the car and it comes to the 6 o'clock news or whatever.
Oh, you'd be giving it.
No, but when you're flicking through it, it'll literally one will play one thing, and then by the time you get to the next one, it's playing the same thing. So it's going thing like it did in that. It goes outbreak, and then she changes, and it's coming to the same part again.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah.
But she just drives home, and we see her, pulling into the house, and there's a little girl out on the street, and she just as you would, like people living on your street, you kind of know them bit by bit. But she just goes home, and
it's the job done.
Yeah, like she goes to bed, sort of, and then she wakes up the next morning, and the little girl is just kind of standing at her door, like her bedroom door.
Even just before that, like when they come back and they're obviously meant to be date night, so the two of them end up in the shower.
Yeah, you hear on the news.
Yeah, on the telly. Please lock your door. Don't think this is an emergency broadcast, and then it goes back to the normal TV. So they've missed it.
Yeah, but she wakes up the next morning, and the girl is just standing at her bedroom door.
Well, it's not even. It's him that gets up. The boyfriend gets up.
Yeah, he wakes up, but she wakes up as well. And then,
would you not be freaking the fuck out the fact that there's a random little kid like? Because
it must happen quite frequently, though.
Yeah, but when she pulls in, she says, "Oh, be careful," and then say hi to your man for you, so you know it's not her kid.
Yeah, that's what it must be quite frequent for this little girl to come into their house, because he didn't seem shocked that she was there.
Yeah, and then you see her face, and it's all like her lip is ripped to bits, and
yeah. So he runs over to, check on her, which is the normal thing to do.
Yeah.
And she attacks, and from here, it just kicks off. Like
it goes from 0 to fucking 2,000 in the space of about 5 frames of a second.
Yeah, like she attacks him, he dies, he turns into a zombie.
He attacks
Anna. He tries to attack Anna. She gets into the bathroom, out the bathroom window, into her car. And as she's driving along, there's fires everywhere. Yeah. There's cars crashed everywhere. The place is an absolute state. And you're talking about this happening overnight. So at most 8 hours, and the place has gone to absolute shit.
Yeah, well, like you see it. So she'd been talking to the kid, and in the space of that 12 hours, the kid has died and became a zombie.
Yeah, like the whole place has just gone to shit. And she's driving along, and eventually ends up getting veered off the side of the road and crashes into a tree. Now, what I really like there, she crashes into the tree, and then they cut to this little montage of news reporters saying
I love that they have
and then there's zombie attacks and stuff as little montages as well.
I love the way they have Johnny Cash on in the background.
Yeah, it is very good. Like the soundtrack to this is very good, to be honest.
Yeah, and then you see it. But what I really like about that montage is where you see the clip where it pops between the two, and it goes to your man. He's obviously standing in a church or something, and they get in.
Yeah.
And that's the very first time you see them on the telly,
Yeah. But it then wakes back up to her with Officer Kenneth with a gun pointed at her.
Big old diamond dog from Con Air, Bing Rames.
Yeah, he's a good guy now. He's been promoted to police officer.
He's some man, isn't he?
Yeah, but he teams up with her, and they start making their way along, and then they bump into Michael, Luda, and Andre.
He's a dick.
And then they're like, yeah, you don't go that way. So they go to just basically the mall or a shopping center is what we'd call it over here, but a mall is what they call it in the States.
Might as well have headed to Dundrum,
Yeah, so they head there, and in all honesty, that's quite a smart idea, because, it's going to have food, it's going to have, security doors. Yeah. It's a good spot to go to,
Safe. There's clothes shops. They make a big point in this. Obviously, she's just gotten out of bed.
Yeah, so, and she has no shoes on.
She has no shoes on, and they make a valid point to show you that.
Yeah, they do. They do a good job of showing you why she would need this, and she's covered in blood from the boyfriend and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, and I like that they didn't have her get changed or anything. It's just run, 0 to 50 and go.
Yeah, but they go to the mall, and then they go to just search it out. And there's just one zombie attacks the two girls and Officer Kenneth.
Yeah. And he takes a tumble into the old.
He gets a cut on his arm, and Luda gets a very small bite on her arm.
It doesn't even look like a bite though. It looks like
It
a
looks
scrape.
like a scratch. Yeah, it does look like a scratch. That's a bit questionable. The bit here that confused me is Michael hears something behind the door, like somebody getting eaten.
Oh yeah.
I'll just open the door here. Like, what are you opening the door
He's
for?
some fucking plank, isn't he?
Yeah. Now,
Like,
it does work out because he learns that you can kill them by stabbing them in the brain. So I suppose some good does come of it. You're like,
to be fair,
what is wrong with you?
If you stab most things in the brain, it's going to die.
Yeah, but I suppose if it's already dead, you mightn't know that. But why does he do that? Like,
what I like about this is though they show you that the zombies aren't the typical slow fucking movement.
You get that quite quickly because the little girl is like going 90 and they can chase after cars and keep up with them and everything. No bother.
This is 28 days later crossed with the original Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, and I think that was a good move because the slow moving zombie has always kind of irked me a little bit.
As far as I know, I think George A. Romero had a problem with that. I remember reading something about it that he didn't want that, but when he seen it, how they wanted to do it and how Zack Snyder went about it, he was quite happy to help out.
Like I get the reason why zombies would be slow moving, but it does take a lot away from the film because if it's so slow moving, it's going to be easy for you to just run away from it. Like
that's it. Yeah, they're lightning quick and loud.
So they have they're in the shopping center and then they get in the elevator and they're going up and then we meet the dick mall security guys.
Yeah, well,
we're just like, we're in charge, and Michael kind of takes over. He's like, maybe we should just do this, and gives him a hint. He's like, maybe we should put a sign up on the roof. And your man's like, yeah, I got a great idea, guys. Put a sign on the roof so they come get us. And you're like, yeah, well done, man.
I like this though. Like you see them painted. They don't just have it on the roof. They have it on the wall of the roof. They have signs out.
And then we get introduced to our latest character, who's just across the way in the gun shop. On the top of that as well, Andy.
What a man.
But the things kind of just, they're kind of going about their business.
They dwindle a little bit here. It's probably one of the slower pieces.
This is probably the slowest bit, where they're discussing what should we do, and they go to bed, and then then they wake up in the morning.
They're under arrest at the minute.
Yeah, but it's kind of just this is probably the slowest part of the film. But then we get up, they go back up onto the roof as they hear a truck driving around outside.
Yeah. This was just craziness. This was. Yeah. It looks like GTA. It's just running shit down. Like,
they were they're in danger down there. Those lads weren't in any danger. They were mowing zombies down. No bother.
It's gonna run out of petrol at some stage or diesel at some stage.
Yeah, eventually, but it didn't look like there was any problems there. They were ramming through people. But
the piece here that didn't really make sense to me was when they pull up. So they clatter into the loading bay where you see the big 18-wheeler trucks hitting. So the ground is off level, and they ram into it. So the two lads open the door and they're like, close the door, it's fine. They're getting out. But if they've just reversed into it, right? How do the people in the back of that truck get on the roof?
Yeah, that's the bit I wasn't sure of as well. And they never explained that.
And then the next bit you see is the old lady in the wheelbarrow. And they're like, what? How?
Yeah. But they bring in these people, and while this has all happened, the dick security guard CJ has been stripped of his position of leader, and he's been put in jail.
That little switch scene was brilliant. When Michael's like, "Yeah, we'll do this," and then he just hits your man, takes the gun off him, and then kind of takes the other one, and he's like, "Yeah, we're fucked."
Yeah. So they go to prison, and then they bring in. Now your one's in this wheelbarrow, and we learned that 5 hours ago she got bitten, but she was fine then.
Yeah, she was walking and everything.
Yeah. So Anna starts to have a look. She's a nurse, so she starts having a look at all these injured people that have been brought in, and this woman dies and resurrects, and she concludes, "You get bitten, you turn into a zombie, so we have to kill you." So they kill her, but then.
But what I liked about that scene is where she sits up.
Yeah.
The other way you see, because obviously there's something wrong with one of her eyes anyway, but only one of her eyes open.
Yeah.
And you're there's some little tiny touches that he has in this.
Yeah. The thing I like from this is that there's the father and daughter there, and the father's had his hand bitten, and they're like, "We have to kill him."
Yeah. Michael's like, "Yeah, we're just gonna do it."
And they go, and Michael goes, he's like, "We're just gonna kill him now." Yeah, and they get there and they're all like, "We can't do it." So they let him go into a little room, say goodbye to the daughter and all that.
Yeah, but then
And then
he
sits
goes
there.
he goes from 0 to fucked up very quickly.
Yeah, but he sits there, and we see Kenneth just leave him, and Kenneth could shoot him at any time, and he says it. He's like, "You're letting me go to the very last second," and Kenneth's like, "Yeah, giving you all your time. Like, if you don't change,
Yeah,
like I'm not going to shoot you before you change."
He's a good man. He's not a murderer.
Yeah, but he does change pretty rapidly here.
Yeah, like he's talking, and the next thing he just kind of puts his head back and he's gone. Like,
yeah, so
like
that's probably one of the major inconsistencies, is that
yeah.
the turning starts from taking like 5 hours. Like it took 5. I suppose once you die, it's pretty much instantaneous.
But like when you see them going
he got
in
bitten
and
on the hand, so what made him die that quickly?
Well, he only gets bit in the hand. He gets bit in the hand before he gets there. So you'd imagine he gets bit around the same time she does.
Yeah,
but she comes in looking like death. Like you see, all her veins are black, and
she does have multiple bites though. So maybe it is that. I don't really know. But the next bit is they kind of goes into a montage of them kind of living there for a couple of days, and they're kind of enjoying themselves, sitting down, having dinners together, discussing their lives, playing basketball and stuff.
Yeah, and then they're up on the roof with Andy playing chess,
playing games across the thing. Yeah, but
I love how Andy won that chess game and couldn't even see the board.
Well, he has a board on his side.
Yeah, no, I know, but like it's obviously he takes it out. You only see him taking it out on
yeah, but
Kenneth's side.
No, you see, Andy has a board on his side as well, so they're actually both playing.
Oh, right, yeah.
So you tell him where to move, you move the piece for him on your side, and then you see.
Be all more impressive if he didn't.
Yeah. After this, we see Luda has progressed quite a lot into her zombie stage.
Yeah, she's all sorts of pregnant.
She'd been heavily pregnant, and you kind of know from here, you're like, that baby is going to be a fucking zombie, isn't it?
This is one of the reasons I think this movie picked up a lot of hate.
Yeah, but I think it works, to be fair.
I really like that scene.
But like she obviously turns into a zombie just before the baby is born.
Yeah, and then the baby moving around in her stomach is just rotten.
Yeah, that's creepy. But she reanimates, and Andre puts
he gags
her essentially, and he waits for the baby to be born, and then he's holding the baby in his arms. And the old woman from the church who drove the truck in goes in to check on them, and she's like, she's a zombie, and he's like, "Are you going to shoot my family?" And everyone's like, yeah. Bang.
Puts it straight through her eye.
Straight through the dome, and then the two of these have a shootout.
This is another stupid bit though.
Yeah.
Like he shoots her, she's about 80, shoots her in the heart. He gets shot in the heart as well.
Yeah. The two of them take about 8 shots to go down. Like it's a bit much. But what I like is that the gunshots alert everyone, so everyone comes running in, and then they see them dead, and they're like, "Is she gonna change?" And Anna's like, "No, she has no bite."
The good security guard here was ready to shoot her.
Yeah, but she's like, "No, neither of them have bites on them. They're just dead. That's the end of it." And then they walk over to the baby, and she's like, Anna, you can tell she's like, "This baby's gonna be a zombie. I don't want to check," but so they check, and the baby's there, and it's done well. Like the baby has the zombie face and everything. It is done quite well.
The black eyes as well.
Yeah, and then they obviously, they pan away, and you just hear the gunshot.
Pop, pop.
Yeah, you hear it. But the next thing we see is the lads go down into.
I think the
power generators go down, and the lads have to go down into
the basement.
Into the basement, which is where they find Chips running around. What a little legend.
Yeah, you gotta have a pooch in there.
Yeah, well, the pooch, zombies had no interest in him.
But like to me, the zombies are down there anyway, so like they've already been in there, so it's not just like they're coming in.
Yeah, but they, the zombies are kind of like not that intelligent.
Yeah.
Like they get into it's unless they see you, they don't actively go towards you. They'll just kind of stand there. Like you see that outside when they're all just standing outside. Like
this is where you lose the dick security guard.
Well, you lose
them anyway.
Well, you lose the one that kind of stays being a dick the whole time.
This is where it shows you, and like other pieces around, they do talk, and they're like, why are they coming here? Maybe it's because of memory. But you see this one in the basement, he's climbing, he's no legs. He's climbing along a pole, like the water pipes, and drops down and eats a man's neck.
Yeah. But they discover that, fire also kind of makes them back off. So
fire bad.
Yeah, they learned that. And then they devise a plan to get out of here, take the bus, fortify the bus, drive it to the marina, or take the bus, fortify the bus, pick up Andy, drive to the marina, get on the boat and go to one of the islands. And then we'll just wait. We'll wait for all this to just blow over.
Has an air of Shaun of the Dead about it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But they go up on the roof to tell this to Andy, and Andy just one word on the board: hungry. Which he's not living in the mall, like, so he only had whatever food he had.
He's gone to a skinny little man there, isn't he?
Yeah. So they devise a plan. We'll send Chips over with the food in the bag.
Genius.
Great plan. They send Chips over. Chips gets there. And unfortunately, when Chips goes in the little door, the zombies notice it.
Did you see how quick that zombie catches that hatch?
Yeah.
As soon as the dog went in, his hands went, and he was like, yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously they hear Andy, and he's like, yeah, I've been bitten. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. Because they don't want to tell him, like, yeah, man, you're
fucked.
You're a dead man, like. But this is where one bit kind of gets bad. Like, your one just goes down to get to the truck to get the dog, and you're like, is she thick? Like, we know that the dog's safe. Like, we know that dog is safe. You just stay away from that dog, and he'll be fine. Like.
Yeah, it's just all sorts of stupid, that was.
But she goes over, and then she hides in the.
She goes in, she gets the dog, and she's like, "Oh, oh God!"
And
they're trying to tell her to get out, and Andy's already. So that tells you how quick it's now changed. So the story has changed from being about 5 to 6 hours to 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Well, it depends. I suppose it depends on how quick you die, because her boyfriend dies pretty much instantly at the start, after getting bitten in the neck.
Yeah, but that little girl ripped his fucking jugular out.
Yeah, but we don't know where Andy's been bitten either. So,
yeah,
like, it could have been
bad. He does say he has to stop. It won't stop bleeding.
Yeah, he's like, there's a lot of blood. I can't stop it bleeding and stuff. So, you know,
it could have. But...
Yeah, but she hides in, like, this fortified little room, which, you know, you would have in a gun shop. So makes sense.
I'd imagine that was the ammo room, but.
But they devise a plan to go over and save her by going down into
the sewers
and going across, and it works quite well. It's not just to save her, because the first time I ever watched this, I was like, it's a bit silly that they won't go over and get her. Just leave her there, like.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea when it's set up, because then you realize they're going to get the weapons.
They're getting the ammo and the weapons because they've run out of. So when they're doing all this, they say to the lads that have stayed back, they're like, make sure this door stays open, because when we come back, we need to be in this door straight away.
We're going to be coming in hot.
Yeah. So they go over, they rescue her, they come back through the sewers. But while all this is happening, one of the guys gets attacked, and he screams when he's on the ground. CJ's like, "Just kill me now."
Yeah.
No, to be fair to CJ, like, it's a tough choice, but you're like,
well, no, that's not.
We know what's going to happen here. So, like, he knows what's coming for him. So he's like, "I'm going to turn into a zombie if you don't do it."
Was it not? It was Tucker that done it, wasn't it? It's Tucker that goes down. And he's like, "Just shoot me."
Yeah, Tucker goes down, but CJ is the one that shoots him.
Oh, shoots him. Yeah, sorry. I thought you meant Tucker falls. That is, like, he has a bad ankle anyway. You find that out early, and then he drops down the thing, and his ankle just snaps, and you're like, "Oh no!" But
it really shows that, you know, CJ has changed from, like, I don't care about anyone except myself, to, like, dragging him along, trying to save him.
How cool was that? Where he's dragging him, he just hands Tucker the two guns. He's just nailing everything.
But they escape into the trucks, into the fortified trucks, and they start driving along, and things are going quite well. They use the gas canister again to explode a load of the zombies, and they're going really, really well until they decide to get the chainsaw in one of the buses, and your one ends up killing the gay pianist or organ player or whatever it was. She ends up killing him, which,
but, like, it's her fault. That whole thing is her fault. You need to go faster, and then as soon as your man steps on the pedal, your man turns with the chainsaw and rips through her shoulder.
Oh, sorry,
he shoots him.
Yeah, he kills her, but that causes Kenneth to kind of panic, and it flips the truck.
Yeah.
So they have to go. Then they have to go back. They have to go back and get the lads, which CJ is like, no, go back. So again, he's shown that, like, he cares about the people around him now.
To me, though, I think as well, there's part of that knowing that
the boat keys are in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Phil Dunphy's pocket.
Yeah. So they go back, and 3 of them have survived.
Yeah. Your man has ran off.
your man's ran off and become a zombie.
Yeah. So
and he comes back.
He got all sorts of killed in about 10 seconds.
What I liked is he comes back and Anna pops him in the head like straight away. She goes, "No, I'll take him." Bang.
Right between the eyes.
And Kenneth is just like, damn.
Yeah, and then they run, and then she twigs it. She's like, the boat key.
Yeah, so she stays back to get the boat key, and she makes it back. What looks like just in time to the truck that still works.
The nifty little juke to get under the zombie that's coming. She's like, nope, gotta go.
And they pull everyone in, and it looks like, everything's grand, right? We'll drive off down to the pier. So that's what they do. They get to the pier, but there's a lot of zombies chasing them already.
Yeah, it's bad in there.
So they get there, and they're all running down towards the boat. And CJ says, I'll hold off here. I'll hold them off.
Yeah, I love how they know what boat it is.
Yeah, it's a bit. That's the bit I was like, do they get caught? I was like, oh, the first time I watched it, I was like, they're going to get caught because they're going to spend time trying to find the boat. But no, the zombies just stayed up with them, and they just knew the boat.
Yeah.
But the zombies catch up to them, and CJ stays back and essentially sacrifices himself, like blows himself up in the truck to kill.
Yeah.
A large number of them.
It'd be the right way to go, because you'd rather not starve to death.
Well, you're not going to starve to death because they're going to kill you and you're going to turn into a zombie. Which he
No. But in terms, if they get to that island that they were going to on the lake, and if they have no food, they're going to starve.
Yeah. Well, I think his theory was that I'm not getting out because I stayed back, so I'm dead one way or the other here. So they all get onto the boat, and then Michael turns around and he goes, "I got bit." He's like, "I'm staying. I got bit when we were getting you back into the truck earlier."
They do that a couple of times in this movie. They make it look like there's a near bite, near miss. Like, you see it in a few parts, and I'll go into that later on. But
yeah, there is a few times, which is what's good, because if it hadn't happened up until now, you'd have been like, definitely, someone definitely got bit. But because you've had a few times where it's like, oh, it's been a near miss, but they actually didn't get bit, you're like, oh, like they do survive these near misses, so it is good.
Yeah.
But he stays back and shoots himself in the head, and again they pan away for this. They don't actually show him.
You don't see a whole lot of anything really bad. The zombies getting taken.
No.
So they like, even when the lads are getting eaten, apart from the boyfriend at the start getting his neck ripped out,
a lot of it is just you see the gore, but you don't see the actual thing. Yeah. But they get in the boat and they're going across, and the film kind of goes to the credits. This is what I like, is that they keep you there for the credits, because they get the little camera that's on board. And it shows you like their progression. They're going across. Oh, here's a little boat. So they go and check that. And there's a dead head in the ice box sort of thing. And they're like, kill that. So they kill that, and then they keep going. And they eventually get to this island, and you're like, okay, they're going to be safe over here, because how could it got there? How could it? But no. Presumably they all die, because that island is infested with zombies, and I can't imagine they all got back onto the boat. And if they did,
fair all of them, they're gonna starve.
Yeah, where
they
could
go fishing.
I said, well, yeah, but I mean,
you see them running out of diesel when they're getting there as well.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, presumably they just die.
Yeah, because like they went on from this to make Land of the Dead, and I was kind of expecting somebody from this to be in it.
But no, I really enjoy this film, because it does leave itself open, where it's like anything, we could make something from this, but you're also given the idea that like this zombie thing took over the entire world, and
it took over America in a couple of seconds. But like, I like the fact that you don't even know where it came from.
Yeah,
they don't divulge into that. They don't say, well, it's a virus from outer space. It's a weapon that someone made.
Yeah. But it's also like nobody survived. Like you can just naturally assume that everyone in this, all the heroes, all the people that you thought, they're going to survive. They've got to the end. They've got to the island. Nope.
Yeah.
It's a really good film, to be honest. Like, it's probably one of the better zombie films out there, I think.
This is actually probably my favorite of the Dead movies.
Yeah.
This and the original one are my two favorite ones.
Yeah, I prefer this over the original, just because of the speed of the zombies.
Yeah, me too. I think this is one of them remakes that I'll always refer back to, obviously I'm a big horror fan, and like you see remakes coming out that are just awful. There's a couple that I'll always go back to. If someone says to me, "Well, is there any remakes you like?" There's this. There's the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's the 2014 or 2015 Evil Dead.
The new Halloween, it's not a remake, I suppose, technically. The new Halloween is quite good. It's not a remake, though.
Yeah, but like as terms of remakes go, there's only a few that I'll go to, and this is one of them.
For me, personally, It is one of them. I prefer the new It. I know you're of the other side of it.
It's not that I like. I've gone to a point now where I watched it again not so long ago, and I don't really hate it anymore.
Yeah.
But it's just It's not for me. The old one for me.
Yeah, for me the new It is a better version of the old one, but like I do understand that some people are going to feel differently to that.
This for me was brilliant. Like obviously, Zack Snyder is controversial director at best now.
Yeah.
James Gunn coming in was a big one as well. He was only around not so long at this stage as well.
Yeah. Well, what I found interesting is that none of this cast are particularly huge names, other than
Ving Rhames.
Yeah, Ving Rhames. Like the rest of this cast isn't really a huge.
Sarah Polley, I think, after this was tipped to be huge and never really done much.
Yeah, but like in making this film, it was a very standard cast with one kind of notable name really in it.
Well, actually, they had two. In terms of if you're a horror fan, you'll notice it early. You know when you see, they're watching the telly and the two dickhead cops are watching it, and you see the cop talking.
Yeah,
you got to shoot them in the head. That's Tom Savini.
Yeah, but it's a very minor role as well.
Yeah, but he's the one that he does all the costume designs for horror movies. He's like a legend of horror for that.
Yeah, but like that's why like they didn't like go with big actors or actresses, which is something like I quite like that in films.
I think they needed one when they got Ving Rhames. They needed a big guy like.
Yeah, and he does the job very, very well. To be fair to him, very good.
Oh, actor. He does, yeah. He's I wouldn't say he's a great actor, but
he's very good for the roles he takes. He does his role. He does his roles very well.
Yeah.
Out of this film, like there's some stuff that I really like. Like the soundtrack, I think is great to this. It starts off with the happy music when she's driving home, and then, as you said,
the Johnny Cash one.
The Johnny Cash one, and then Down with the Sickness is kind of the closing song.
Well, it's not even the closing song. It comes on when you see them doing the shooting game as well.
But it's also the one that that's the end credit song as well.
The acoustic version. Well, it's not even an acoustic because I don't think there's a guitar in it. It's just like a solo voice version of it.
Yeah, but I think the soundtrack to this is very, very good. Some of the other stuff I really liked in it is obviously not everyone will have played it, but COD Zombies. Do you remember the one where you used to drive around on the truck?
Yeah.
That's basically the truck that they make, the two buses they turn into that. That's it. Like that's what they're just playing COD Zombies. Start leveling up those guns, lads. Start getting those perks. You'll be fine.
Yeah, just keep going. We'll be great.
Yep. Just keep going. You'll be fine.
Like I liked when Michael pulls her in the truck there. Now she moves on very quick from her boyfriend getting chomped to the next guy.
This is one thing, right? She moves on relatively quickly in terms of that, but not just like I've moved on and I found someone else I like. She's basically fallen completely in love with him because he's like, I'm going to stay back because I got bitten, and she's like, no, don't stay back. It's like, why? How did this progress so quickly? I suppose if you're locked down in that,
I'd say it's probably on. Well, they don't tell you how long it is, but from when they designed the bus to go and get Andy, he said 5 days to him, right? So.
Yeah, but then they go straight away because Andy says he's hungry.
2 days maybe from when they arrive to when the guys arrive.
Yeah, I would say so. By the time they get to the shopping center, then they stay the night, and then
the jail cell, and
in the kind of jail cell thing. So then that's 1 day definitely. Then they take over, so you can call that another day because you've seen the dick security guards when they're in the jail cell be sent to bed.
Yeah.
Then you see kind of the montage. So like you're probably talking a couple of days there as well.
So say maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd say you're talking about a week or so. Like how much food would Andy have had across the way?
Probably not a lot.
Yeah, like it's a gun shop. Like it didn't look like it was where he was
To
living.
me, though, when they go in there, there's a door and like there's an upstairs, so maybe he lived there.
Yeah, possibly.
Because he had a chessboard and all there.
Yeah, so maybe you're talking like maybe 2 weeks maximum. Yeah,
it's pretty quick from living with somebody to
being completely in love with somebody.
Yeah,
it's a bit. That's probably one of the weirdest things. But that bit where the two boys are playing like chess across the thing, and then he gets beaten. Kenneth gets beaten. He's like, we need a new game. And then they're
you can see him with the sniper rifle.
Yeah, he's got the sniper rifle, and they're like, oh, get Rosie O'Donnell, and they're like, no, that's an easy one. Make it
Burt
difficult.
Reynolds.
Yeah, get Burt Reynolds, and they're like, he's a good shot.
Yeah. That's one of the main reasons they go to get Andy, really, because they say it. We need to get him. Apart from the ammo, he's a good shot.
Yeah, but that's what I like. They kind of have this back and forth, and then obviously at near the start you see the helicopter flying over, and they're like, oh, down here, and it just flies off, and they're like, it's not coming to get us. And Andy puts up the thing, and he's like, what's the story? And your man tells him,
4 passers gone, no help coming.
4 passers gone, no help coming. And Andy just writes back, and the bad news.
Yeah, you could just when you're in that kind of situation, I'd say you're just like, I need some kind of look.
Yeah, but that's what I like. I like that Andy and Kenneth made this really close bond. Like they became really good friends without ever speaking a word to each other. It was just the odd thing they wrote on the boards, and then they started playing games.
And then they do talk when he gets the radio.
Yeah, he eventually gets the
Kenneth,
chat.
Is that you, brother?
yeah, it's me, brother, it's me.
Like there is some subtle things that they done in this and made sure to do right. So as I was saying, like it focuses that she has no shoes on at the start.
Yeah.
And then when she gets to go and it's get a medikit.
She's getting the first aid kit.
Yeah, she's getting the first aid kit. There happens to be a lost and found box with a pair of shoes in it that somehow fit her.
Well, she takes out several pairs of shoes first. Like she takes out one pair, puts it back, takes out another pair, and then keeps rummaging. So like, likelihood she'll eventually find something that fits you.
Well,
what I like is that when she does that, what I like is when but the security guards won't let them take anything.
That's like one of the great things is like, I'm not having you stealing shit.
Yeah, it's like, chap, we're like, there's a lot of zombies outside and it's getting worse. Like, can I change out of these bloody clothes? No.
Yeah.
All right, dude, calm down.
But like, it's funny because you see them, like when the girls get attacked at the start, the guy is the security guard from them all, because when they go down, he's still flipping around. So like she shoots him, and it looks like she hits him in the head.
She hits him in the shoulder.
Oh, is it? To me, it always looked like she hit him in the head, and he's just bouncing around in the water.
No, she hits him in the shoulder, and then that's the bit I don't like. That's kind of weird because he just bounces around. I don't really get that.
Yeah, he's freaking out as if he's spasming out, like.
But we also do see Kenneth smashing his head into the wall a few times, so maybe that's the reason. I don't really know.
But then they make a point of being like, I told them not to go downstairs.
Yeah. That's one of the things that when they're upstairs, or when they first get in, they have the crowbar, and they're looking at the window, and Michael's like, I'm not going to smash it with the crowbar. I'll take this toilet and throw it through the window. And you're like, what? Why not just smash it with the crowbar though?
I can understand that. Maybe he didn't want to risk getting glass to the face or something.
Yeah, possibly. But it's like he looks at the crowbar and he's like, nah, I'm not risking this bad boy. And they throw a toilet through it, and you're like, okay, that's it.
But then they make a point. They make a point when he goes into the sports store and opens the door. Yeah. He puts the crowbar down. He puts the metal crowbar down and picks up a croquet mallet.
Yeah.
That's made of wood. Now, actually, it does work quite well.
You have a better fulcrum of it. You have a better fulcrum for swinging, I suppose. With that would be the original theory.
Yeah. Well, I suppose. But theoretically, either way, how quick they move, you're only going to get the swing at once, and if you miss, you're in trouble. Now he hits him and it snaps. Yeah,
and he gets lucky here because he just jams it
straight up
straight up through his neck into his brain. Yeah. That's what I like is that they discover kind of by chance.
Yeah.
And then you hear on the news where your man is like, you just got to shoot them in the head, and they're like, yeah, you see, you just got to shoot them in the head.
Yeah, because then the cops giving out, he's like, you made a mess in Metropolis.
Yeah, it's like, dude, there's zombies down there. I don't think anyone's gonna be too worried about the mess down there. Like,
yeah, well, he got absolutely beveled over that count there.
Yeah, I really do like the like montage of them, you know, like they're sitting down to eat and they're like, oh, what were you best at, like, or what were you worst at? And he's like, oh, being a husband. And what were you best at? Being a dad. Because it gives you that backstory. You're like, okay, so he was a dad.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
But is that like he was a dad and the child died years ago, or
it's just something that's left here?
Yeah, exactly. You don't get told, like, you just know that at some point he was a parent, and he feels he was a very good parent.
Yeah, but it was a bad husband.
But he's had 3 marriages, so you're like,
well, he obviously is the problem.
He's the problem in the marriage. But if he feels he's a good parent, and they never allude to him being a bad parent, and it does seem like he is quite good, because he seems to be quite caring about all the people around him.
Yeah, he does try. Even the young one, Nicole, or something, whatever her name is, that tries to go. He's the one that tries to get her back.
Yeah, it's just, there is kind of weird stuff like that, and it's just, they just leave it open to you.
But like there's one thing that really annoyed me. Like, this movie didn't need it, but like obviously in horror films now you have the montage scene where you see one walking around in the lingerie, and then you see her riding your man, and you're like, that's just one of the most unnecessary scenes in this movie.
Yeah, that kind of felt like, you know, they'd had Kenneth playing basketball with the security guard, the good guy security guard, and then they'd had, you know, some of them sitting down at a meal and stuff, and they're just like, what are we going to do with 2 of these?
Yeah, just have them ride. I thought that one of the funniest lines in the movie comes from that, where he's recording it and she's like, fuck me harder, Steve.
Yeah. The one thing about that is that it does show you the kind of person he is, because from the start he's very like,
oh, he's a dickhead.
I don't care about anybody, like, you're all idiots.
Yeah. You can tell he's a loaded arsehole.
Yeah, and then they're told to, you know, make sure this door stays open, and then they get back and the door's locked because he's fucked off, like.
Yeah, I like there though when they get back and they're running for the bus straight away. He's sitting on the bus and he's like, "What the hell?" He's like, I'll deal with you later.
Yeah, and up on the top of the, like, when they're playing the game where they're, you know, shooting the zombies, and they're telling Andy, shoot this one.
Yeah.
She's like, there's something wrong with all of you, and he's like, listen, if I ever turn into a zombie,
shoot me.
I give you permission to shoot me in the head. And she was like, oh, trust me, I will. And
it's a great little. It throws it right back here.
Yeah, it plays forward with that. It's like, yeah.
There's a couple of bits though there's a couple of bits in this movie that do that. There's things like you see it, and later on it goes back to it. Like, I would have liked to have seen Tom Savini come back into it in some way.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think he was just in it because he was doing whatever he was doing for the movie. Like,
well, presumably because he's meant to be at the church. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. They're all dead.
Presumably he's dead, because they're like, we went there, and they're like, is everyone dead? And he's like,
they came from the church.
Yeah, but Kenneth is like, is everyone at the church dead? And the lads that came from the church, your man Steve, is like, well, they're dead, but they're not dead. And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like,
no, he asks them, is everyone at Fort Pastor dead where his brother is? That's where he wants to go. And he's like, we just came from Fort Pastor.
Is that not where the church is in Fort Pastor, I think?
No, the church, no, because when they're going, you know, when you see her driving.
Oh, right.
They've said, if you're in this county, go to this church.
Right.
And if you're in this county, you go to Fort Pastor.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
And then obviously they've came from the church, so you won't pick them up in the church, drove to Fort Pastor. Fort Pastor's fucked.
Yeah.
But again, what makes them drive back to the mall?
I suppose they're just driving around, like, just.
Yeah, but there's nothing to say that they're going to stop there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose they're just driving around and just like, let's just go wherever.
Unless the only thing I can think of is they seen the sign on the side of the building that said "Help, we're inside, alive inside" or something.
It could be that. Like, I think it's just, you know, they're looking for somewhere to shelter down. Like, they know that they need to shelter down somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
And as we said at the start, like, it's, you know, it's probably the best place to go. Like, it's got nearly everything. Like, it's got pretty much everything you'll need
technically
for a certain amount of time.
The Walking Dead tells you the best place to go, and that's going to a prison.
Yeah, but at the same time,
until it gets overrun and you're locked in your cell.
Yeah, but like this one, you know, it's a pretty good place to go. You know, you've got pretty much everything you need. There's gonna, like, most shopping centers have somewhere that sells like beds and clothes and food and stuff. So you're gonna be quite well stocked for quite a while.
Yeah, you'd hope anyway.
Yeah. They probably would have been better staying there, but at the same time, we saw the helicopter fly over and it didn't stop to pick them up. So
yeah, they knew they were at that stage. You knew
I
you
think
were
at
up
that
shit's
point you're
creek.
like, yeah, the best chance we have is to go to one of these islands and hope it's not infected.
Well, like that's the funny thing. He says that very sarcastically.
And
He's
they're
like,
all like,
"Oh, what
yeah.
we do? Just go get on my boat and drive around." Yeah, that's a good idea.
The first time you watched this, did you believe he had a boat?
No.
I was fully convinced they're going to get there with him, and they're going to be like, "Where's your boat?" And he's like, "I don't have a boat."
Yeah.
I was fully convinced that that's how this was going to end. They were going to get there, and he was going to be, "I don't have a boat."
Yeah. I just thought he was being a rich arsehole, being like, "I have this." Well, not even rich, just being a.
Yeah,
the end of the world.
like,
Nobody knows him now, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
I was certain that they were going to get there. There was going to be no boat, and they were going to have to like steal a boat.
It was either that or
that's what it was going to be. But
it was either that or I thought he was going to have like a little diggy rowboat.
Yeah, I was like, he's not going to have what he's promising, but you know, he obviously did. But
yeah, that would have been funny though.
Yeah,
but like he went on. Like Sarah Polly didn't do much. Ving Rhames is Ving Rhames. Your man Steve, he went on to play Phil Dunphy in Modern Family.
Yeah, your man Michael went on. He's had pretty decent career. He was in a TV show called Homeland that was quite popular for a while as well.
I didn't watch that now.
He's done quite well for himself as well.
I think Andre's done a few things as well, but
Andre's done a few things. I don't think the rest of them really went on to do anything.
Well, Luda was a nobody.
I think
Tucker's been in a few things.
I think your one Luda looks very like your one from Daredevil, or not? No, it's not Daredevil. From Deadpool.
The girl he's with.
Yeah, I think she looks really similar to her. I was certain that was her, and then I had to look it up. It's not. But no, it's not. I looked it up because I was like, "Is that your one from Deadpool?" And I was like, "No, surely it can't be because like they look the same age here as they do in Deadpool." I was like, "It can't be."
Well, Deadpool would have been aged really well.
I was like, "She's either aged really well or like I've got this wrong." And I had it wrong. It's not her.
Like I know at the time, obviously being a big horror fan as well, like they were talking about Sarah Polly being big into a lot of these movies, and then obviously it went on from her to Megan Fox, from when she done Jennifer's Body to Amber Heard, who nobody wants to work with anymore for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, she just kind of just disappeared off the.
No, that's not to say that she didn't go on and have a family or something and decide acting wasn't for her.
Yeah, well, you know, loads of people have their big hit and they've made their money and they say, you know, this is like maybe I don't want to do this, but it did look like she had a big career ahead of her, and I just didn't.
Like she was good in this.
Oh yeah, very good.
Ving Rhames was very good. Michael was very good. Andre was good.
Ving Rhames is brilliant in everything that he does because he only takes roles, or I've only ever seen him in roles where he plays kind of the badass, big muscle guy, you know. Which, you know, if that's what you're good at, then that's the role you take. Don't go taking something you can't do.
But like this would have been close after probably Con Air or so, in and around that time when he was making.
Well, Con Air was 97, so it's 7 years.
Was it 97?
Yeah, 97. Yeah, so 7 years on. But you know, he's still a big guy. He's
still going as well.
Yeah,
he's still finding himself into movies like.
Yeah. If you're still playing the role well, they'll keep hiring you, I suppose.
Yeah, there's some good. It's one of the better zombie movies you can watch.
It's probably one of my favorite zombie films. Like Shaun of the Dead will always be right up there for me, but Shaun of the Dead is a horror zombie film. So
comedy zombie.
Yeah, when I think about like a zombie film, I do consider Shaun of the Dead a zombie film. But
it is. No, there's no doubt that it is a zombie film.
If someone was like, "Oh, what's the best horror zombie film?" Shaun of the Dead isn't on the list for me because I'm like, it's not a horror.
It does pop onto a lot of people's lists, and I genuinely, for love nor money, can't figure out why.
Yeah, for me, for it to be a horror, there has to be something, you know, that's scary about it, and anything that looks like it's about to be scary turns into a joke in it. So it's just
very quickly.
Yeah, like they make sure that it's not scary, like that's meant to be. You know, it's going to be scary. No, it's funny.
I'm sorry, but in terms of if you want to make a horror zombie movie, there's no way it can be 12s or 15s. It has to be an 18 movie, and that's it.
Yeah. But like this did it very well. Like obviously we said first of all, it starts super quick. There's no like slow build of like they learn as they go along. It's just bam, zombies. from the start.
As I said, it goes from 0 to fucked up in all kinds of quickness.
Yeah, and other than that little lull when they're, deciding use are the ones imprisoned because we're in charge of here. Like, other than that little lull, I think this is pretty action packed the whole way through.
It keeps the intensity most of the way through. For me anyway. Like, you've got that feeling like, oh, when they turn that corner, is there somebody there, or is the next person that comes in gonna be a dickhead and just try and take over?
Well, even when they find chips, something runs past and they're all moving the gun. They're like,
it's like Sonic the Hedgehog when you see you just see the shadows flying by, and
but they're like, there's something there, and they keep moving around, and then it's chips, and they're like, it's just a dog, and then your man drops from the ceiling, which isn't like, it's not a jump scare. It doesn't.
No, because you can see him coming. As soon as the camera pans back to him, you see him take, like, he's moving two hands and he drops down.
But like, that's the thing. It's not a jump scare. Like, this film doesn't rely on jump scares. It relies kind of on the idea that if you were in that situation,
this is the way it'll happen.
It's like, how would you feel in that situation? You hear something running around when you're down in the dark, knowing that there's zombies around.
Yeah.
You're going to be nervous, and you feel nervous because the characters portray that nervousness.
Like,
and that's what I prefer in horror films. Like, I like, jump scares are fine, and they have their place in horror films. But I love horror films that are more like, if you were in this situation, how would you feel?
Yeah, like, to me, it depends on the mood that I'm in. I'll watch.
Yeah, I'll watch loads of other ones as well. Like, don't get me wrong, but
like, for me, the ones that kind of go like that, like, I'm a big fan of the Wrong Turn series. The first one is built that way.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, they're definitely somewhere around there. The rest of them go to absolute junk, but I enjoy them. But like, I like the ones where they're built up, and then there's the kind of Jaws effect where it's built up to see something, and it might only be something small.
Yeah.
Like, the build up for chips coming along is
it's quite like, small, but
you're like, oh, it's something big is coming here, and then nothing happens, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, something did happen.
Yeah, your man drops down, and then loads of zombies get at them.
But that's what I like there. So when they shoot that other one, then it turns and the camera pans to the wall where there's shadows, and you just see them all running.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. But what I like there is, the way we're talking about paying things forward into the movie. CJ has the chance to kill the guy that was bitten in the neck there.
And he doesn't.
Yeah, it just keeps going. But when he has the chance to do it again, he takes it.
Yeah. Well, your man begs him. He's like, please just kill me. And he's like, it's.
But like, you see, that one zombie has to, like, he had plenty of time to shoot him.
Yeah. But at the same time, he probably wasn't ready. But he was willing to shoot the other guy, the other security guard who had turned into a zombie already.
Yeah.
So he went from, I'll shoot him if he's a zombie, to, I'm not shooting someone I know, to.
Yeah.
It's the better of two evils here. Yeah.
Like, to be fair, Tucker was never going to survive. He was never going to come back as a zombie because the lads had just mauled him.
Well, I don't know if that matters, because your man that was getting eaten in
he came back.
He came back and he was in bits. Like.
No, yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like, you come back as a zombie, but you might only have half your body.
Yeah, but you can still move around, as we seen your man with no legs.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, yeah.
But overall, like, probably one of my favorite zombie films out there.
Yeah, as I said, it is probably mine now. I'm a big fan of the older ones. Obviously, having grown up with them. I think the very first one of them I ever watched was down in our last guest, Luke's house, when he showed us it. But yeah, like, I'm a big fan of them, and I think George A. Romero was a genius in what he done for the genre. But I think it needed to move along in a way that they've done with this, and then, like, 28 Days Later isn't really a zombie movie, but it's along those lines. They needed to adapt zombies to new things. Now I think they've taken it a bit too far with the likes of Warm Bodies now, where the zombies are talking and thing, and I was like, but we won't get into that. That's a discussion for a different day.
Yeah, I liked that the zombies were quick moving.
Yeah,
they were probably a little bit too fast. Like, being able to keep up with the car and stuff was probably a bit much.
Yeah,
but I liked the fact that they were able to move at least normal speed.
Well, the one thing I actually liked about this is, you know, you're talking about how much has it taken over. When they're in that bus the first time, moving forward, and you see them all around, there's so many that they can't even move the bus.
Yeah.
and then he throws out the gas canister and shoots it. You see them falling out, and there's just miles of them.
Yeah. It's a great scene, but
that's a level 99 in Zombies for you.
Yeah, you're at the end, you know. You either get through, or I don't know if you can win COD Zombies. So maybe that's exactly what happens here. You know, they're playing COD Zombies. They got to the very end, and the game just ends. Maybe. Yeah. But
like
that's it. Yeah, that's it for this week. So we'll see you again next week. Good luck.